All right. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Forecast. It's been a minute since Michael and I were here together on a podcast, but here we are. And if you have not been paying attention to our social media pages, you haven't seen on our website and articles and a video that I did yesterday, we're doing a new campaign right now called May the Forecast Be With You. And every 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about a critical topic in the weather industry. And right now, for the past 2 weeks, we've been talking about how people are becoming desensitized to weather information. And so I kind of have laid out here some of the key reasons for that and what we can do to solve them. But that's going to be the topic today. And we'll get into it. But before that, Michael, people should they should share.
Yeah.
They should like. They should give us a review.
Yep.
And, all the good stuff.
Have you ever had a Core Power protein drink? The shakes, the Fairlife ones?
No, I don't think so.
So, if you like coffee,
I do.
if you add this as cream in the coffee, it's very tasty, and you get some protein. But these are very, very tasty.
I jumped right into it. I know you like to.
Well, I like to
Chit-chat.
derail it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to derail it a little bit. The last couple of times, we've talked to other people other than, ourselves. And
Sure.
so you have to kind of maintain a little bit of professionalism when you do that. But now that it's just you.
Oh, thanks. It's just you. Whatever.
No, I'm excited for today's topic. It's a big deal right now. And I'm ready. I'm ready to get into it. Share it with a friend, and I'm going to drink my Core Power Fairlife here and talk.
I'm going to start with a question because I have a couple of things laid out, but I want to get your perspective on this issue. What do you think is the number one cause of weather warning desensitivity? Of all there's numerous different culprits, if you will. But if you had to pinpoint one that's the most damaging, causes the most issues, what do you think that it is?
What we should do before I answer these types of questions is flip a coin. And if the coin lands on heads, I should give a polite, responsible answer. And if it lands on tails, I should really unleash on what the answer probably really is. But I'm going to go middle of the road.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
No, I'm kidding. I'm half kidding. The main thing, in all seriousness, is I believe it is the technology in how we do alerts. And what I mean by that is that it's still a county-based program. And so people are over-alerted, I believe. I believe the alerts are overdone and over-sent out because too big of an area gets alerted, especially the way the free applications on phones send the alerts. If a tornado warning is issued for Johnson County, everybody in the county is always alerted of it. And that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Correct.
It's not supposed to be that way, but the way that it is that if you're in Greenwood and there's a threat, now people listening may not know where Greenwood is. If you're in the northern part of a county and 20 miles away, the tornado warning is for the southeastern tip of the county that covers 2 miles. We've just alerted 98% of the county for something that's not coming. And so I believe that it has been an excessive overuse of outdated BS technology, and the free weather applications on our phones have magnified that by still using it and not updating how they're alerting people. Even the updated technology now of the warning polygons is 10 times better than county-based alerts. But it could be 10 times better than now if we'd get with the times here.
Yeah. Yeah, meteorologists have gotten better. Technology's gotten better. There's even been projects, the Warn On NSSL.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like it's been as big of a priority as what it could be.
Well, that project launched 10 years ago.
And exactly, 10 years is a lot of time to make so little progress. And That's just is what it is.
I believe it was called, maybe Hope can look it up while she's in the back there. I believe it was called SAILS, SAILS. I believe it was an NSSL project that was going to dramatically reduce the size of the warning polygons, especially tornado warnings, like a decade ago. Because I think I looked this up with Vince a while back. I want to say it was called SAILS. It could be something different. But Hope might. Is that what it's called? Yeah. I forget what it stands for. But this was a movement that clearly people identified needed to happen a decade ago. And for whatever reason, it hasn't made it into the operations.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
And I think that to pivot off of that a little bit, the reason that you hear questions, if you've ever heard somebody say, why do I get so many warnings but I never get hit? Or whether you've said it yourself, this is why. It's because you're getting alerts that aren't meant for you because of the way that a lot of apps do it. Or because we have not advanced our technology enough. We haven't advanced as an industry enough to narrow even those polygons down if you are getting it the right way. And it's something that I know that our team is working on when they issue custom alerts is to really try to narrow the focus down to areas that really need it.
Yeah. I don't think there's another way until people start really getting the alerts less or more concentrated to them and they're feeling the impact. And what I mean by that is if an alert's issued for a certain part of the county and it's hyper localized to the impact of the thunderstorm or the tornado, and the people inside of it, they're getting rocked. They're like, oh man, this one's hitting me hard. I think that's going to take a couple of years, by the way. You don't get rocked very often. Let's be honest. I mean, you get severe weather a handful of times a year, but it happening in the same spot is rather rare.
Sure.
Unless you live in Whiteland.
Yeah.
But,
Johnson County, 3 tornadoes in a matter of years?
The odds of that are just...
Some Evansville this year, I think, has had a couple. Columbus.
Yeah.
So it does happen.
It does.
But
it's just...
those are, small cities relative to the entirety of the United States.
Yeah, but I think a total shift has to happen, and people have to understand. There's just been so much BS and ignorance around weather warning systems and weather forecasts over the years. It's been taken and almost made a joke out of with, AccuWeather or Weather Channel's free app that has a banner on it for an advertisement, and you get, an alert, and then at the other end of it, which this is something that's pissed me off for years, is the county level EMAs are sounding, and I know some of it's changing, but the policy's crap, and people need to call it out. I mean, this is walking on eggshells, being afraid to hurt people's feelings is why it doesn't get changed. If there's a tornado watch in a lot of counties in the Midwest, when a severe thunderstorm warning is issued, which we've talked about this for many years, they sound the tornado sirens. And it's flat out a misuse, a bad call, a horrible thing. It's very, very stupid.
Because what people end up doing is, the sirens, they're going off again. They go off all the time. Nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
The reason, I think a lot of people just think, okay, well, if we overwarn, it's to be safe, right?
Yeah.
It's to be safe, it's to be safe, it's to be safe. But really doing too much of that does the opposite.
Yeah.
People ignore it. They don't trust it. Again, desensitivity.
I don't think, and I'm going to push back a little bit, I don't think it's to be safe. I think it's out of the unknown. I think it's ignorance. I really do. I think it's, it's almost like it's almost irresponsible to continue to operate that way. And yeah, I'm calling out state, county officials. I don't care. I mean, it's stupid. It's
There
changed.
Yes, it's some have changed.
I think it changed in Johnson County.
Some have changed. I even read there are some areas that have the capability now to only sound the sirens if they're in the polygon area,
That's what we need.
which is what we need.
Yep.
And it needs to be the same for everyone. There needs to be a standard.
Yep.
Right? Because I wrote down, you mentioned the severe thunderstorm warning during a tornado watch. I went through and I looked at a couple of other examples. Again, if any part of the county is under a warning, the whole county's sirens goes off. That's very common.
Yep.
Funnel clouds reported by law enforcement, but no tornado warning. Wind gusts of up to 70 miles per hour in some counties. Hail larger than 1.5 inches in some counties. And then some counties use the sirens for other non-weather related emergencies as well.
And that to me is, again, 70 mile per hour wind is tough. Big hail's tough. It's nobody wants to deal with it. I understand. But the severe thunderstorm warning sent to everybody's device should cover that. Sounding off sirens excels it to another level. And then because this will happen in a hailstorm, in a wind gust, 9 out of 10 times, 90% of the people hearing the siren get no weather. So that's the problem is even a hail swath, it's going to be maybe a mile wide, 2 miles wide, maybe.
And that's a fantastic point with tornadoes too, is most tornadoes are only 50 to 100 yards wide.
Yeah.
You're going to have to leave some room for error.
Yeah.
These things can turn right a little bit. They can shift a little bit, whatever the case may be. So there's got to be some room for error.
Yeah.
But what we're saying is that, you can narrow it down. But I think that's a good educational point. Like, if you're in a tornado warning, it doesn't mean that you weren't in danger.
Yeah.
If a tornado happened, you just got lucky and you missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is important to understand as well that in most situations, even if there is a tornado, the chances of getting hit by it are not huge.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a real danger, and you need to take it seriously. But when we make the polygons too big, when we sound the sirens for every little thing, then it just decreases the urgency, I think.
Yeah. And there's a part to this I think that people need to understand is that there's going to be 50% or more every time in these warnings where people are not impacted.
Sure.
Because of, listen, we saw this a couple weeks ago. What day was it? There's an event that came through, and they were issuing severe thunderstorm warnings that were covering 6 and 7 and 8 counties.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't that big of an event.
Mm-mm.
Like, maybe there was a gust of wind or something. Sure. Again, that's you're alerting everyone in the path, and you're telling everyone in 8 counties. So, 300, 400, 500,000 people now are waiting for a 70 mile per hour wind, 2-inch hail, and all hell to break loose because we couldn't isolate down a little bit more. I mean,
Sure.
when you and I both know, we're looking at radar and we see a warning come out, we know what it's for, and we can look at it and go, that's just not right. It's too big. It's and it's probably not even the warning meteorologist at the NWS. They're just following policy.
Sure.
They can't, even if they know or they want to make it, they can't. It's a 25-year-old, stupid policy.
Which is something that we'll get into in one of the next segments of this campaign, which is the rules, if you will, the constrictions, restrictions of some of what can be done. We'll get into that here in a couple of weeks. But I do want to go to another aspect of this, which I think has really come to light in the last couple of weeks with what happened in Texas, and it's flash flooding. Because there are, and I just having talked to some people, and even assessing myself a little bit, flash flood warnings, they come out pretty frequently. There are a lot of flash flood warnings. But I don't think there's a good understanding of what a flash flood warning is for, especially compared to what happened in Kerr County, Texas, a flash flood emergency. And so I want to talk a little bit about what should people really expect when there's a flash flood warning issued.
Do we know how far in advance the flash flood emergency was issued for Kerr County?
I think it was 1 a.m. It was a couple hours.
Before it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So anytime we're throwing emergency, tornado emergency, flash flood emergency, you know, to me, that needs to be, all bets are off. It's the worst of the worst. It's ongoing. It's not possible. It's happening right now.
Sure.
It's being observed. Again, with the flash flood warning, to this day, man, there are people that just drive through water on the road. They think they can, and to this day, people get sucked in and have to be rescued. It's one of the craziest things I've really ever seen.
80% of fatalities in flooding come from driving or walking through flooded waters.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, a flash flood warning means that it will rapidly rise almost to unknown levels and bring I believe the statistic is, and again, maybe Hope can see if this is a Google thing, but I think it's like 12 inches of water can carry away.
Yeah.
There's some.
I think it's a foot maybe can move your car, and 2 feet can sweep it away.
Yeah,
Hope can.
12 inches of water can move a car if
Yep.
in the right circumstance. And so the fascinating thing about this is people still drive through it. They still get stuck. And I think what does a flash flood warning mean? I think it's rapid rising water levels to almost, in my opinion, the way I read a flash flood warning is almost to the unknown. We don't really know how bad it could get, how fast.
Yeah.
If a dam breaks out, gives away, we don't know. Like down in Cordray, Sweetwater, back in June of 2008, down in southern Johnson County, northern Brown County, down in the south central Indiana, that gave out.
Which I think is a fantastic point because it's so important to know what's around you.
Yeah. If you are next to something like that and a flash flood warning's out, you've got to consider that if that goes out, you're in serious trouble.
You need to, like we emphasize so much and it's talked about so much. I mean, I remember talking about it in elementary school about what to do during a tornado warning, but I don't think it was ever talked about what do we do if there's a flood.
And I would argue, as a meteorologist, someone that knows this, I would be actually more intimidated or afraid of a flooding situation than I would a tornado.
I completely agree because a tornado, knowing what I know, obviously it's easier for me to say as a meteorologist,
Right.
but I can have a pretty good idea of where a tornado is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But flash flooding is more unpredictable in the sense that, you know, urban areas, you can get ponding on roads that increases really quick. Small, tiny creeks and streams can turn into rivers really quickly with flash flooding. There's so many more variables. Drought, I know that came into play with what happened in Texas. And so there's a lot more unpredictability from a hydrology standpoint, I think, with flooding compared to a tornado.
100%. Yeah, it's a. And I think, you know, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking about our podcast and people listening. I think a lot of people probably think that all we do is just try to find what's wrong with this stuff.
Well, we're trying to make it better.
I know, and I agree, but people might listen and be like, God, is there anything that's right with, you know, and the reason we're talking about this, I think, is because the perception, the education, the system in and of itself it's really bad. It's broken. It's not good. And it all comes from the topic of this podcast, which is people are becoming desensitized.
Yeah.
They just think, well, yeah, flash flood warning, whatever.
You know,
not a big deal.
You look outside and there's no flood going on,
Yeah,
so it didn't happen. But
hurt me.
Down the street next to a stream, suddenly the road is covered.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a reminder for all of you watching, if there's a flash flood warning, just don't go out and drive.
Mm-hmm.
And have a plan, especially if you're near somewhere that's known to be flood prone. Franklin. Gosh, I mean, Franklin is so flood prone. 2008, go back and look at some past flood events in your area and see if you're in a spot that could cause issues.
Yeah, it's really not that difficult.
No, but I think that I don't think it's been talked about as much, which is why we're talking about it.
Yeah, it
Tornadoes are talked about all the time.
Yeah.
Tornadoes, tornado warnings, tornado sirens, take shelter, do this, do that. But flooding kills more people.
Yep. Yeah, and you know, I think too, and again, I know that people listening are going to think that, yeah, of course they're going to say this coming from their podcast. They're trying to promote their product, and it's not that really it's the desire and the passion to make people aware of things so they understand what the threats really are. I do genuinely believe that what happened in Texas is preventable.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been prevented. I don't believe it's the people in and around the area. I don't believe they're at fault for it. I'm not saying that they handled it properly, but I don't think that, like you just said, the education around it is just not enough. People just don't take it seriously enough. So when it happens, not taken seriously.
Sure.
And I think the way to take it seriously, my point is that if you are of any importance, of any event of any kind, with any people or property or anything, you need to have a source of information that's just a little bit better and a little bit more informative than your free app. And it's like, you think about this question. If you had a $300 Honda Civic and you had a $5,000 Honda Civic, and then you had a brand new $21,000 Honda Civic in 3 parking spots, and you could have any one of them. You could afford the 21,000, the 5,000, or the 300. What's the human nature, I guess? Which one are they going to pick?
Well, I can afford all of them. Oh, I want the more expensive one. I want that one. It's got to be better, right?
Right. Okay. Maybe. But if they're all 3 right there and they all look decent, most people.
Well, yeah. I see what you're saying.
They might go with the cheaper option.
The cheaper one, because it's
saving money.
Saving money. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I thought about that wrong.
No, but you're not.
But
there are some people that will think of it that way. Well, I want the more reliable, newer option. That's why we have a business that people pay us for that. But there are a lot of people that are like, well, I mean, if it's only $300, and then next thing you know, you're driving down the road and the damn thing blows up, or
the wheels fall off. Yeah,
it's winter, the heat goes out. You wanted to save money, you wanted to be frugal, and
get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for, but like. It's even that way when you go to Kroger and you buy the meat, man. When you buy the older meat that's been on the shelf for a few longer days, it turns faster.
Yeah.
It's not as good. Yeah, it's cheaper. You got a deal. Congratulations. But it may not be as good.
Sure.
And so when I think about this type of stuff, to me, it's like, man, when people's lives are at stake, when the reputation of organizations and events are at stake, and property, what's the big deal to spend a little extra money to not get caught with your pants down here? People are going to think that's a sales pitch.
No,
it's not.
I mean, all of this, what we're doing right now, it's just to try to keep people safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's just trying to empower you to be able to take action confidently so that you can make decisions that keep you and your family safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously we have a product we're selling, we have a business we're running, but that at the end of the day is the big thing.
Let me ask you a question, and I'm just trying to get people to think as they're listening, and anyone listening, ask yourself, if you've ever wanted something in your life and it's a little bit better than what you have, what do you have to do normally? You normally have to spend money.
Yeah.
If you want to learn how to, let's use golf, for example.
That's a great one. Very expensive.
You have to pay someone to teach you. If you want better golf clubs that hit better, you have to pay. If you want a better phone with a better camera, you have to spend more money.
Mm-hmm.
It's such as life. If you want something better, if you want a nicer house, it costs more money. Blah, 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 on and on and on. If you want a nicer watch, you got to buy one that's not from Target. Not knocking the Target watches. I'm just saying if you want a nicer one, they cost more.
And I think part of that is prioritizing what's the most important.
If you're in charge of people's lives, you better get your head out of your butt. Because I'd say that's probably the most
important thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You saving a couple $100 on your budget sheet to not understand how flash flooding and tornadoes and severe weather can hurt and kill people like it has. you're not making very wise choices. Yeah, people are going to be like, screw you. Easier for you to say, we don't have the money. Find it. You need to find it, And if it ain't us, I don't care. If it's BAM or Joe Blow's weather, I don't care. You can't have a situation where you've got hundreds of small children that are dead because we didn't respond appropriately to life-threatening weather situation that was preventable.
Mm-hmm.
I very strongly believe it was preventable.
Yeah.
Any catastrophe in weather, if you're warned and you're listening and you're paying attention, is most of the time it's preventable. God forbid a EF5 or something like a Joplin situation, takes everything off the foundations. That's a little bit different.
Which rarely happens. I don't think there's been an EF5 since Joplin.
No, there hasn't been.
Which means that's pretty much, EF4, obviously, if you don't have a basement, EF3 can be dangerous. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But an EF5 is really the only scenario where there's really not anything you can do.
So I would just implore, the whole desensitivity thing is a topic that could be talked about for a long time, but a way to solve the desensitivity problem and the people not knowing what to do is to inform themselves and lean into more information on it so that they don't have to have a situation where we're looking at this going, where the hell did that come from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because odds are, even from our team issuing products and watching things, we've never, knock on wood, we've never had a what the hell with our customers ever.
When it matters,
No, it's when it's on radar, man, and we're sending people to their devices, it doesn't happen. We're alerting them a lot of times before the watches even come out.
Yeah, that happened on Sunday. We put out a severe thunderstorm watch, gave people a heads up. When you're 12 plus hours out, you're going to miss sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But when the storms are approaching, when it's on radar, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's preventable. We'll update you.
Yep. Yep. And then if you being desensitized doesn't even matter anymore because now you have information, and information changes situations.
Absolutely.
And that's what I think I don't think we're going to be able to ever change the the whole county alert. We're never going to be able to do anything about that. I mean, we can talk about it.
Sure.
But a solution.
Bring light to it.
We can bring light to it. But a solution to that would just be, hey, just inform yourselves a little bit better, man.
Then that other noise you can ignore, right?
Yep.
Don't, one source, one easy, that that when you get an alert that you need to act.
Yep.
And not have to guess. Oh, the sirens are going off. Should I do something?
And if you're not sure, guess what? With the source of information you now have, you can ask a meteorologist, and they'll respond to you and answer your question. Hey, I got a flash flood warning. I've got 75 kids out here in Joe's camp down here in Bobville, wherever the hell we're at. What do I do? Well, hey, here's what. Great question. I think the flash flooding risk is setting up about 10 miles north of you.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be fine. Or, hey, you know what? There's a major river 2 miles away from you, and they've had 8 inches of rain. You where you're at hasn't, but looking at everything, it's actually flows downstream and it's coming your direction. And if anything gives, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Those types of things you would not know without talking to someone, an expert, who could easily tell you.
Yeah. And even for just everyday use, the team, I don't know how many times I've seen this year a supercell on radar and them time out where the rotation is going to be. Hey, if a tornado is going to drop down, here's the path that needs to be on the lookout for it. So even if you are just using it for personal use with our home package,
yep,
you're still getting a meteorologist to communicate with you, which you can't get anywhere else.
Yep.
It's cool.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And with everything in life, I think everybody's smart enough to know if you want to improve anything, you have to spend a little bit of money and you have to be intentional. If you really don't want to deal with this problem If you don't want to be on national news for months, you need to think about how to spend a little bit of money and educate yourself, inform yourself to prevent this stuff. That's my take on it.
No, I love that. But that's all that I had. Unless you have any last thoughts.
I would love
notes.
if anyone's listening to this. I would love for feedback. I'd love to know what people think about what we've said, because to me it makes so much sense to me. And maybe I'm biased. Maybe my blinders are on. I don't know. But if we're not, if I want to know what people think. So if anyone's listening,
Yeah, does it make sense?
Does it make sense to
what
you?
we've said about warnings and sirens and flash flooding and how that works? Does it help?
Yeah.
Are we hitting the right spots here, like in terms of, can you take this information and apply it so that the next time there's a flash flood warning, you don't find yourself driving through flooded waters?
Yeah. Yeah, give us feedback. Share it with a friend. Make sure you leave us a review, and thanks for listening to us ramble today.
Yeah. No, we'll have additional podcasts for the rest of our campaign. May the forecast be with you, and that's what we're doing. We're giving you information so that the forecast is always with you.
I love it.